Hi, I'm Rev Myron. I'm a minister through Pathways of Light, and I'm a Course in Miracles student for the last 40 years. One of the things that I've been doing for several years now is going through the lessons, and the way I'm doing them now is that I read the lesson and I ask Jesus for clarity, and then I write whatever comes to me, and I've kept a journal over these years of what I've written. It's pretty interesting, to go back and see what you thought in the past and compare it to what it is that you understand now. Anyway, so I'm glad that you're here. Thank you so much for watching my video. And I'd like to encourage you to like it and subscribe if you want to. So we're working now on a new theme, and this theme is, what is a miracle? And I'm going to read a paragraph, then talk about it, then read the next paragraph like that. So it begins with, a miracle is a correction. It does not create nor really change at all. It merely looks on devastation and reminds the mind that what it sees is false. It undoes error, but does not attempt to go beyond perception, nor exceed the function of forgiveness. Thus, it stays within time's limits. Yet it paves the way for the return of timelessness and love's awakening, for fear must slip away under the gentle remedy it brings. And so Jesus is telling us that miracles correct what our thoughts, which are what our thoughts have miscreated. It works with a perception, undoing error through forgiveness. When we have awakened from the world of time, we will no longer need them. When I notice that I believe something that's not true, I forgive that belief, and it's undone in my mind. It just falls away as if I'd never believed it. And that is a miracle. My favorite sentence in this section is this: it merely looks on devastation and reminds the mind that what it sees is false. I love this sentence because it's another way of saying that while much has been seen, nothing has happened. The world is an idea in the mind, an error in the mind. That's all it is. And the miracle reveals this to us. For a while, it is revealed one error at a time, but eventually the mind remembers the truth. So paragraph 2 says, a miracle contains the gift of grace, for it is given and received as one, and thus it illustrates the law of truth the world does not obey because it fails entirely to understand its ways. A miracle inverts perception, which was upside down before, and thus it ends the strange distortions that were manifest. Now is perception open to the truth. Now is forgiveness seen as justified. So when we perceive the world through the ego mind, we see everything upside down. We think that the world caused us. In truth, we caused the world. Have you ever heard someone justify an attack by saying they were defending themselves? This is saying that the world, or maybe someone specific in the world, caused them to react. This is not so. Our interpretation of the action or the words is what we respond to, not the action itself, not the words themselves. This is why I never look outward for a solution. I am the cause of my life. My life does not cause me. So paragraph 3 says, forgiveness is a home of miracles. The eyes of Christ deliver them to all they look upon in mercy and in love. Perception stands corrected in his sight, and what was meant to curse has come to bless. Each lily of forgiveness offers all the world the silent miracle of love, and each is laid before the word of God upon the universal altar to created and creation in the light of perfect purity and endless joy. So miracles are what occur when we forgive. When I divorced my husband, I did so because I thought he was impossible to live with. After a while, he remarried and his wife thinks he's just fine. My husband wasn't the problem. My interpretation of him was the problem. This is not to say that I would want to be married to him again, but I also am certain there is nothing wrong with him. When we were first divorced, I was taking my courses with Pathways of Light to be a minister. Through taking those courses, I learned to see things from a different perspective. I wanted to be free of all remaining grievances, but I knew it would take a miracle to accomplish this. Fortunately, I also knew that miracles come from forgiveness. I began the process of forgiving everything I believed about him and myself and the relationship. The miracle occurred and we're now friends, and I have nothing but love for him. So paragraph 4, the miracle is taken first on faith because to ask for it implies the mind has been made ready to conceive of what it cannot see and does not understand. Yet faith will bring its witnesses to show what it rested on is really there. And thus the miracle would justify your faith in it and show it rested on a world more real than what you saw before, a world redeemed from what you thought was there. When I first began the forgiveness of that relationship, I was conflicted. I knew it had to be forgiven, and I trusted that I could do this and would be glad I did it. I trusted, but I had little proof it was so. Nevertheless, I took Jesus at his word and I forgave. Often I had to revisit the same memory over and over because I had to convince myself that I was right, and that because I had already convinced myself that I was right and that being right mattered. I returned to it as often as I needed to until my mind was clear. Once a belief was undone, I would wonder why I ever believed it. I was never sorry that I let a grievance go. Paragraph 5. Miracles fall like drops of healing rain from heaven on a dry and dusty world, where starved and thirsty creatures come to die. Now they have water. Now the world is green. And everywhere the signs of life spring up to show that what is born can never die, for what has life has immortality. My life is filled with miracles now. I am so grateful for A Course in Miracles. Sometimes I can't believe that this incredible thing has happened to me. I remain vigilant for the need to forgive, and now I never hesitate. I almost never have to revisit a grievance, but if I do, that's okay. I'm just glad I know what to do with them now. So thank you again for being with me here as we looked at this lesson. We'll also look at, we looked at the theme for these following lessons, and we will look at 341 next.